Yeah, I feel like that makes even more sense and feels even more real every time we play together, and the energy keeps rising, and our power as a trio becomes tighter and smoother and more natural. Like it just, yeah, it's definitely like a cauldron brewing.
So today's guests are members of Ritual Arcana, a brand new doom and occult hard rock trio featuring Scott Weinrich on guitar and Charlie Lucky Free on bass and vocals. The debut album is about to drop and the amps are warming up for them, about to hit the road. Guys, Happy New Year. How are you?
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year!
We're well. We're doing good. Yeah.
Great. Well,
good.
2025 is now behind us, and we're looking forward to a big year in 2026. This is awesome because you're our first guest of the new year. So again, congratulations on the debut album. It's a good one, and we want to get all into that. But hey, Wino, for you first, you had a really busy 2025. You were over in Europe and the UK with The Obsessed. You obviously were working on this Ritual album, but you also put out your own solo album, Create or Die. So maybe take us through 2025. What were some of your highlights?
Okay, well, we go through the highlights. I mean, basically, we got a new drummer. We got Bob Pantella, plays in Atomic Bitchwax, and because our original drummer stepped away, so we got Bob, and man, that was we went to Europe for a month, and it was just so much fun. Like I can truly say it was fun. We did good, but it was fun, and that's the most important thing, and it's Bob kind of he breathed some life into, he breathed some new life into some of the stuff. So I was really enjoying playing every night, and then of course I had already finished Create or Die, my fourth solo record, and did that with Frank Mershon, and that came out I got that when we came back, right?
Came out in October.
Yeah, and I had copies, I just have copies right now. So, I thought with a solo record like that, or like an acoustic record, I'm never really sure how it's going to be received, but it was well received, and I'm happy about that,
I think Wino, you've had such an amazing body of work for the last 40 years or whatever, and there's so much material out there on you and so many projects and bands, but you have a signature sound. But when you go into some of your solo stuff, it's a little bit different, but it doesn't go that far off base, So I think most fans and listeners that love you are going to go to it anyway, right? Because it's, you kind of know what you're going to get.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't initially going to be mainly acoustic, but, as I fleshed out the songs, I was like, man, I could really hear the drums on that, or, I could really hear some electric on there. So I just decided hey, I'm not going to make it, an acoustic record, an electric record. I'm just going to make it my solo record.
Eclectic.
So, yeah. And I think, some of the songs are were new, but a lot of the songs were ideas I've had for a long time that for one reason or another didn't make it, on an Obsessed record or whatever it might be, Yeah. I got a really, I finally got a really nice acoustic too, and that helps a lot because, right on that and stuff. Yeah, it was a great year. It really was.
Yeah, it's, and I love the title of that, Create or Die. I mean, I think it goes so much into who you guys are as artists, and we'll get into a little bit of that later, but I think it's a common question for somebody like me that has to ask you, who've been around for so long, to say is, how do you get inspired? And I think that answers the question, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's all about my philosophy, right? We do other types of art too, but I have my moments where, you have moments where I feel creatively dried up, sometimes, everybody has those kind of things, but I'm kind of the glass is half full kind of guy. I do really just try to I just try to look towards it,
Yeah, and that's when you can switch mediums if you're burned out.
Yeah.
Trying to finish a song and it's getting frustrating, then
I've been told that I'm
paint for a sec.
a purveyor of doom by quite a lot of people, but it's okay because I'm objective about it. I mean, it's I can still get up in the morning and sleep at night and all that shit.
Enjoy the day,
man. Yeah. That's it. Life's wisdom from Wino. So, guys, let's get into Ritual. So, the album description says the record was manifested by the power of three, a cauldron of doom, hard rock, and the supernatural. So, sounds to me like this is something else. It's like a ritual experience. So, maybe Charlie, for you, when you hear that description,
she's a witch.
You froze the video.
What does that make you feel?
Well, when I said it, the video.
Well, sorry, it froze when you were finishing. What did you say?
So I was going to say
after the description.
Yeah. So what does that mean when you hear the power of three, the cauldron of doom, hard rock, and supernatural? Like when you think back now that the album's done and it's out, does it still feel accurate towards what you were intending to create?
Yeah. You keep freezing up.
But to answer your question, yeah, totally. I mean, the power of three is because we're a three-piece, and it was, a collaborative effort between the three of us. So that's kind of what that means. And then, yeah, I feel like that makes even more sense and feels even more real every time we play together, and the energy keeps rising, and our power as a trio becomes tighter and smoother and more natural. Like it's definitely like a cauldron brewing.
There's definitely a circle of energy with Ritual, There's only three of us, but there's a circle of energy that goes, I can't really imagine anybody else being in either spot, you know what I mean? Because,
yeah, it's just the recipe for this specific band. And, I'm sure any musician has felt this feeling too, where it's like, you're also in the zone that you're not even you anymore. You're just kind of like teleported, and the music's playing through you. And like, that's the magic of it. Yeah. So that's like really kind of what we aim for when we play, and it happens. So that's like something to be grateful for more than anything, that you got to get to that spot,
But I will say this, it's like, I was pretty blown away by, my partner's, newfound desire a few years ago to like learn to play bass guitar. And so we decided, let's not fuck around here. Let's get you a nice bass, some shit. And then next thing you know, she's got 10 or 11 songs, and we're getting ready to start rehearsing to make a record. And I'm blown away. I think it comes together really nice. And like the little bit of music that I've contributed, I feel like it's really easy to work it out. It's really, really easy to arrange it for her to sing it and stuff. And, it is kind of a magical thing.
Yeah, we're gonna pretty much already we're getting on half of another record already almost.
Yeah,
so it's still happening, and it's like, we play all of the full album. Like for the tour that's coming up, we'll play the album in full plus a couple bonus tracks that we didn't end up putting on it. And Wino's contributed an additional new song that we're going to be playing. And so I like that it's still growing. It just feels right, and it feels organic.
To be honest with you, like to answer, go back to your other question about like, creatively inspired. Like I'm feeling pretty inspired these last couple of weeks, and like maybe a month now, pretty inspired. When I play my guitar like all day, sometimes all day.
All day, every day.
Sometimes I just can't tear myself away from that guitar.
Yeah, why should you?
Right.
It's good.
Last night, my buddy was over. We were playing acoustic, and we played for like 3 hours. And then I looked at my fingers, and they were like black from the strings. My fingertips were black. So were his. Yeah. It's funny, man. It was crazy.
Good. Wow, 3 hours straight. That's pretty cool. So you kind of,
that's that's the kind of thing. Like we're having a lot of fun. My buddy came over for dinner. Like he plays guitar, and he always brings his guitar. He's one of like, I have a couple friends that are like that. Like, you can go to a party, but all they want to do is pick up the guitar. You know what I mean? It's great.
It turns into a jam.
It's sort of like being a gearhead or something like that. You're pretty obsessed with that instrument. Or it's obsessed with me. I don't know.
Where do you keep all your guitars? How many guitars do you have?
Everywhere.
All over the house?
Everywhere? Yes, they're everywhere. I wish I could pick it up and show you. It's kind of cool.
I got one laying over here. I got Les Paul over here with his eyeball hanging out because I'm getting ready to like give him some eye surgery here.
Yeah, this is the one you got from Kai, right?
Yeah, I bought this for my tech. I think it's actually Canadian, so I don't know how you want to term it. It's the Canuck axe. Yeah, but eyeballs falling out, I got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
You gotta fix this one too.
I got 4 Les Pauls, and she's got a couple Gibson SG basses. We're pretty much Gibson people.
Okay. So let me ask you about the origins of the band, right? So okay, you kind of painted the picture, Charlie. Was it that you were coming back into music like when did this become like, all right, I want to fuck around a little bit. We're going to write some tunes. versus it like saying, okay, well, now we actually have something here. We could put an album out. Now we need a band. We need a drummer. Like, when did this just go from like a little project to a real thing?
Well, that's a good question, because the drummer, Oakley, our drummer, he also plays drums in that band Black Lips. And, they're like, we're completely radically different from Black Lips. Black Lips was kind of like a punky, they've been around a long time. They're like kind of like a, I don't know, how would you say, like
garagey.
Johnny Thunder's garagey kind of meets like, I mean, they're pretty eclectic, pretty great. I mean, they have a big following in their own right, but it's completely different music. But anyways, the drummer, Oakley, spent some time out in the Maryland, D.C. neck of the woods, like where I basically grew up, my youth, and cut my teeth playing in bands out there. And he remembers seeing Spirit Caravan. He's younger than I am, but he remembers seeing Spirit Caravan. So basically, he lives up here now in New York, and we met because another friend of ours from New York, who's kind of like a promoter guy, brought him to my acoustic show that I played up in Woodstock one time a couple years ago, and he mentioned the fact that that he had seen Spirit Caravan and went from that area, lived in that area for quite a while. I was blown away. Then as we got to be friends, because he's just a multi-talented guy. And like we approached it like I went up there and we just hung out, partied, and jammed a little bit, jammed some stuff and got to know each other. And then I asked him, I said, who turned you on to The Obsessed? How do you? And he goes, oh, it was this guy Vito. And it turns out that this guy Vito was also the boyfriend of my ex-girlfriend, who also turned on to The Obsessed. And so this guy was the linchpin in like turning several people in my world on to my music. And he unfortunately is dead, but I just think it was a great coincidence,
Yeah, and
stuff like that happens.
Oakley, for Ritual, so I've played bass in bands before, but I didn't take it like quite as seriously and like go record an album with it. And I had to kind of put the bass down a little bit until I bought my current bass, which is my 67 EBO. And then Wino was off on tour with The Obsessed, and that's when I like wrote like basically the full album while he was out. And then when he came back, I showed him what I had recorded on GarageBand. And, we started to work together on it. He agreed to be the guitar player. He laid down his guitar parts. He helped me, with finessing the songs. And then him and Oakley, like he was saying, had already been jamming here and there. And I kind of invited myself in and started playing bass. And I showed Oakley the songs.
I thought I knew Oakley, if Oakley wanted to do it, I knew that he'd be perfect for the job because he's totally unpretentious, he's not really.
He's a great dude.
He's just a good,
and he's a musician. He just wants to play all the time. And I had tried out, I jammed with a couple other drummers and it wasn't really right. Like just solo I did. And then when me and Oakley played together, it snapped into place for sure.
Yeah. We already have had, we got a bunch, we've known each other we've known Oakley for what, how long now? Like,
it's been a few years.
A couple of years.
Okay.
So like, it's if you're still friends and still like way into it after a couple of years, I think it's going to last.
Yeah, you get the good vibe going.
And he also is a multi-instrumentalist. Like, I would like to see us branch out to the point where, where Oakley can, he's a monster piano player. And I don't really like piano. I like the instrument, I guess. But in some contexts, man, it's rare, I like organ, some synth in some situations, but
he plays organ on the record on Mistress of Change.
Yeah. But he's an all around great instrumentalist. He plays he's sort of like the ghost guy in that band Natural Child. Is that Natural Child?
Yeah, that's one of the ones he plays in, right?
And then he also plays bands like Danny Dogs, as I said, but he can play bass. It's just great. I mean, he's got a good musical head, so it's just good getting together with somebody of like mind, Sorry to ramble.
No, that's good. So what I took out of that, Wino, is this is her band, this is her project. She's in charge. She's in the driver's seat. She's the boss.
Absolutely.
But I was lucky enough to be able to collaborate with my favorite guitar player / songwriter / singer of all time. So I have my mentor guiding me.
I'll tell you something.
For
though.
sure.
I'll tell you something though. We believe in each other.
Yes.
I mean, like. She has said some stuff that's so profound to me at some points in time that I'm just amazed.
And you too.
Yeah. So I mean, I think we compliment it. We're a good team, man. We're a good team.
Yeah, we're like yin and yang.
Yeah.
I know. I'm saying that with all love. Just kidding. So
she's my henchman. I'm hers.
Exactly. So, now let's talk about like the name and the image of the band. Right? What does Ritual Arcana mean, and where did that come from?
So Arcana kind of refers to like ancient knowledge, and then also refers to the tarot, because in the tarot, the major arcana are like, the picture cards, and then there's the minor arcana, which is like what turned into the suits and the numbers in like a modern day card deck. So there's like the four suits of tarot, the wands, the cups, the pentacles, and the swords. But the majors are like more impactful cards when you draw them. So a lot of my inspiration comes from the occult, comes from tarot, it's spiritual studies, things like that. And so Ritual Arcana is the ritual of making the music, of doing it in a live environment with other people, and also invoking different energies from the tarot. Not always, but in a lot of the songs on this album were inspired by tarot.
So when you get the LP, it's themed kind of that way. Like the record is themed a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. And you can see it because in the LP, we just got our physical copies, which is awesome. They already sent them to us. And when you open up the booklet and there's the lyrics pages, pretty like faintly behind it, but if you look closely, there's a different card that's kind of associated with each. So the whole thing's a tarot spread.
Okay, because the image, when we get the press side of it, we get the liner notes, we get kind of the image, and I think it's striking because it references a key, a sword, and a feather. I guess that is very symbolic of tarot.
So that one's actually separate. That one,
that's personal stuff, because you want to tell about.
Yeah, I mean, it explains it in the song Ritual Arcana. There's verses that refer to it, but I associate him with the sword, Oakley with the feather, and myself with the key. And the point is, like, the sword is basically the protective tool, which is very much how Wino is. He's the protector. He's like the defender. The sword is for cutting away what you don't need. The feather is Oakley, which is like goes with the flow, like syncs up with life, enjoyment. Like,
and he also no shit raises waterfowl.
Ducks and chickens and a peacock.
And he's got a peacock too.
Yeah.
So he's the feather guy. He's the bird
duck
guy.
Man.
The duck man.
Bird guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the feather, right? But I mean, that sort of came after the fact, right? He just happened.
It just kind of does itself. I don't know, and then it lines up, and then that's how you know you're all right when it does itself.
Yeah. So yeah. And it gives people something to latch onto, like, three symbols.
Yeah, I like the way that each of those things look too. So I think it makes a nice logo.
Sure. Well, so before we get into the songs themselves, let's talk about, let's say, like, what were you intending to get at, right? Because I feel like when I listen to the album, I think I've spun it about 5 times since I got it last week. It blends doom, hard rock, yet it has this supernatural feel to it. And it feels retro, but then again, it kind of feels, it doesn't feel forced retro per se. So maybe, what were you going at for a sound?
Let me think. Like, a lot of that has to do with our engineer, Frank Marchand. Again, that record to me has its own personality because of the overall sound of the mix. And so, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, it's very ethereal, but it seems that it gives it its own personality. That's what I noticed.
Yeah, for sure. And I'd say, like, as far as, going for it in the moment of writing the songs, it's more like I'm trying, more often than not, just trying to work with emotions and real life stuff that turns into song without really even thinking about how it's going to come across until the end. So some songs, as you notice, came out, more of that, like, kind of that supernatural kind of vibe, but some of them are just straight up rock and roll songs. Some of them, like, it's kind of like evoking a feeling, like Free Like a Pirate. I think about when I go on tour with The Obsessed and we're gathering with all these rockers, like, night after night, everyone's a free spirit. Like, that's the feeling of that, like, gathering with your pirate crew. Whereas something like Subtle Fruits, it's like, when I'm in the depths of feeling like shit, it comes out doomy.
But but in the studio, though, the studio is sort of like where we thrive. I mean, my favorite place to be, if not with my family, is in the studio.
Yeah, it's awesome.
With everything I need: coffee, pot, fresh strings, bunch of batteries, or whatever it may take, and then and then somebody's like giving me the dough to do it. I mean, that's my perfect environment right there. I mean, that's my job, and I feel that's what I feel like where I need to be. And it's like, so.
And we got to record with Frank, who did the last 2 Obsessed records and Wino's last 2 solo records, which was an amazing person to work with.
Yeah, we've developed an insane rapport with our engineer, Frank. He also is like a fantastic front of house sound guy. He came out to the Obsessed show when we weren't at Acid Bath. I hired him to run our sound in LA, like 4,000 people. I thought it was a really important show, which it was. So I'm going to get my man out there. You know, they call him the Punisher. So that's so he's sort of like, you know, you got to have a guy like that, the fourth member of the band, basically. You know, he's like, he knows so much about sound. And he looks like Dick Cheney, but I swear to God, he's a fucking metal rocker at heart, man.
Yeah.
You know? And he knows his way around the studio. But he looks like, you know, he's a great guy. I asked him to play bass in The Obsessed way back when because it just seemed logical, even though, you know, he didn't really have the look, but, you know, that wasn't really important, man. But, of course, he declined.
Nah, he's awesome.
He's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, that's good stuff. Good context adding into this whole storyline. So, yeah, Charlie, I want to comment on some of your singing later, but I define your vocals as they're sort of hypnotic, emotional, very powerful at moments. But maybe for Wino, how does it feel for you to step away from the microphone? Because most fans, guitar player, you write the songs and you sing, but very rarely do you not see you front and center in the microphone.
I know. I'm enjoying it, man. I'm enjoying it. I mean, I'm enjoying it. I can like concentrate on what I'm doing. You know,
get spacier with your pedals.
Yeah, you know, the reg's kind of spacey. I mean, it's kind of challenging. It's actually kind of challenging music too because Charlie wasn't, you know, born and raised on Sabbath and jamming like blues and stuff like I was.
Born and raised on Sabbath.
Well, listening to it, but not playing it. You know what I mean? Not playing it. It's like, you know, so she doesn't write or phrase like you know, traditionally, you know, to some extent. You know, like everybody, in my experience, is like everybody that I've worked with in bands, everybody has a little bit of a different quirk about writing. Like Scott Kelly, for instance, like I swear the last Reinbutter song, I would just watch Dale because I could not count what he was counting. Like, you know, sometimes like, you know, people, you know, you're just like, how are you counting that? Because, and it's a challenge. It's really, it's cool. Yeah.
Yeah. And because we're a 3-piece, Wino's in charge of rhythm and lead guitar at the same time.
Yeah, it's definitely challenging. I mean, and you know, not singing, not having that, you know, is something that I'm enjoying it. You know, I'm enjoying it really. I mean, I didn't sing that much in Shrine Builder, so you know, it's nice to be able to move around a little bit. I can get some interaction with Oakley. If something's going haywire at the sound, I'm not locked in the mic. I can tell somebody, hey, you know, do something about it, whatever it might be.
Yeah,
I'm enjoying it. But we're still new, man. It's still a new thing. Like, it's a new experience to get up on stage with Ritual Arcana.
Yeah, it'll be our third show.
It'll be our third show coming up
in a week or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, that's real new. That's real. And you know what? As you know, maybe this is feedback for you guys as a listener. And I'm being honest here and objective. It's very, very cool because being a lifelong Wino fan, of course you get everything I'm used to with you that I love, right? And every time you get a new product out of you, it's like, oh, fuck yeah, man. Just good Wino crunching and just what you love. But then the other side of your brain goes over to this female vocalist and the different singing styles on the songs, and it's almost like you're getting this double package in one. Cool. So take it as a compliment from a listener.
I am. Yeah. I'm honored, really. I mean, you know, yeah, that's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
To be part of that, I mean, to be a third of this project is really it's refreshing. Very refreshing.
Yeah.
We really look forward to our rehearsal sessions.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's like therapy kind of, you know?
Totally. Even just playing in itself is therapy, but playing together is like, it really works, that therapy.
And you're really a band when, like, you know, we'll play the set once and everybody will just be like, what am I doing? Where am I? And then next set, everybody will be together. You know what I mean? It's sort of like you flow as like one, you know, sometimes. You know, but it's cool. We're developing, we're learning, we're figuring out new stuff. We want to get into some projection and kind of, you know, we definitely want to whip the stage show up some, you know, give people like a real good experience. So that's our goal.
Yeah.
Bigger and better.
As the black cat enters the room.
This is she's Magic. That's her name, actually.
Magic. I love it.
She's the queen.
Magic?
Yeah.
The queen. So, you know, speaking about your prior two shows, here's a funny story. I'm in northern New Jersey, and I have a pretty big yard. And about 2 years ago, this guy rolls in, and he's treating my grass. He's putting the fertilizer down. So we start talking music, and he's into all the same shit I am. And now we're like best buddies. We go to shows together, and he's been in both of your shows so far.
Wow, cool.
Oh, cool.
Dave, I forget his last name, but he's been at both of your shows so far. So we were out Saturday night in the city, and he's like, I got my ticket for Brooklyn already. I'm like, all right, well, we'll go.
Wow, that's great.
Oh, that's sick.
So, well, I know that I probably talked to him, right? I mean,
is his last name Stemback?
I don't know. To me, he's just Dave the lawn guy.
Yeah, cool. Anyway, that's rad.
Yeah.
Yeah, on this run, we'll be in Brooklyn. We won't be in Jersey on this January Feb thing.
You guys got to play Jersey. We were talking about this like forever. Why don't you always play in New York? You never come to Jersey.
But enlighten me on some venues like
there's Dingbats.
We never played Dingbats, but we also played this weird punk rock kind of squat place. Pretty cool people ran it. It was below the Italian restaurant.
Yeah,
it's in Montclair, I think.
What Montclair?
Oh, you froze up again.
No, it's.
Oh, there it goes.
Montclair's right, not too far away from me. I wonder what venue that was.
So
wait, is that the Meat Locker? Was it the Meat Locker? Called the Meat Locker?
Yeah. It was the Meat Locker.
That was cool. That was like,
dude, I remember
that show in like 2019.
Me and her we had a paranormal experience at that gig in Montclair.
Yeah, when we first started hanging out.
We had a paranormal experience. I think it's like when we were pretty new hanging out. And she was on the road
for like most of that.
We used to
short tour. I wasn't selling merch for you yet.
She sells merch now, for the Obsessed, but she wasn't doing that. We were like, we just got together pretty recently, and so have you even been to the Meat Locker, right?
I haven't. No, I know about it, but I've never been there. I live 15 minutes away.
Yeah,
it's kind of like it's kind of like a basement, like maybe at one time it was a finished basement, but it's kind of like I don't know. It's pretty strange. It's in the bottom. It's below an Italian restaurant. I think that might have been tied to the promoter somehow with family because you get to Montclair and then you go up to the restaurant to eat. That's part of the deal,
Yeah.
But anyway, so it was a chaotic show. It was like really punk rock. I mean, it's just crazy tight, but it's it's like
nice,
it's almost like catacombs almost with these arched doorways. This is how I remember it. It probably wasn't that crazy. So anyways, so we decided, hey, I see this door. And I'd opened it earlier in the night. This door that I saw, I was like, "What is this door?" It was just like kind of like this open kind of storeroom, cables, some bullshit in there. And so I pulled her in, and we started smooching, and it was pitch black. But all of a sudden, we saw a like a lightning, like kind of like a lightning bulb, like a purple
lightning
neon. Flash of lightning. There was definitely something there that there's no windows.
Yeah.
There's no lights. I mean, it couldn't have been anything else. It was pitch black. And all of a sudden it was just like this fuck is lit up like, like a lightning bolt would. Purple lightning in Montclair below the restaurant.
Yeah. God bless Jersey.
Yeah, right? So what kind of energy was that? It's like a purple thing like that.
It's
psychedelic.
We're having a nice time.
Yeah, it's great. It's psychedelic as fuck. It was great. And then later on, this kid shows up and he's like this. He's like a super fan. He's like blown away and he's helping me and everything like that. But at the end of the night, we're like, oh yeah, we just got this kid down the street, stole a bunch of shit.
Yeah, he stole merch. Like, what kind of fan is that?
I was with him all night long. Like he's helping me. Like just I'm not really asking for it, but he's just so zealous, I was like, man, this kid's got a great attitude, and then on the way out the door, he's fucking steals some shit. I think it might have been some alcohol involved, but I'm not even mad at him. I just thought it was kind of funny.
Yeah. Jesus. Well, maybe the purple light's following him. So you played a solo acoustic show at the Meat Locker because I would have been there. Had I known about it.
I'd be upset.
That was an Obsessed show.
If it was the Meat Locker, but I feel like that sounds familiar.
It is a Meat Locker. We were still with Zach. So I think we were touring.
Yeah, Zach was doing it.
Well, but it wasn't an I Hate God show. Like we split up on our own. That was in the day when we had the same booking as I had got, and we were playing a bunch of shows with them too.
That's it. Listen, that'd be just cool to see you in Montclair because Montclair is such a bougie town. It's not a very metal town. Montclair. It's too bougie for my life.
We got no feedback.
Some problems there with your freezing up.
Oh, hold on. Yeah. Calibrated, I think.
Okay.
We're having problems. Okay. Hold on. We're having problems with you're freezing up.
Okay. I can see
you.
Might have missed
you. Now we're
okay. I think we're back.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, I don't know what's going on here. Right. Must be the purple light coming in from Montclair.
Well,
I'd like to see it again.
Is it Mercury in retrograde right now?
I don't think so.
Okay. All right. Sometimes these planets do weird stuff too,
I know. All right, so let's get back to Ritual. Let's get.
All right.
I must have missed your question. We might have missed your last question. I don't know.
Well, listen, Dingbats is a place you got to play, and that's like right up your alley. And Freddie Dingo's the owner; he's a good guy, and maybe next time you come through, you can always hit me up with Freddie Ding. Like that's definitely a place
who's the
should look at.
Who the booking agent is at the club?
I don't know who does it, but I could probably find that out. But Freddie Dingo's the owner himself. I'm sure if you emailed them directly, they could easily work it out with you.
Okay. All right. Cool. All right. This is a great tip.
So now on to the the songs, right? So I'm curious. Is there a storyline in the order of the songs? Like, I'm not saying this is a concept album, but is there anything when you put the lyrics together that says there is an order in these tracks for a reason?
Yeah, for sure. And the funny thing is, for a long time, we weren't playing them in that order, and they were not written in that order. And it wasn't until we recorded them that we realized this is the order they have to be. Yeah. And it has like a arc to it, or whatever, a storyline to it, where it's like starting out with like the creative spark, and then kind of a descent, and then like a rebirth kind of thing. So I think there's a good through line. I think one feeds into the other purposefully. Subtle fruits kind of being the death, going to the judgment, which is like coming back to life, and then wake the goddess is like the full invocation. But at the beginning, it's creative spark, and then kind of a descent down.
Right.
Okay. So there is some symmetry to the order.
Occluded is pretty positive. Yeah, I mean, that's like speaking in vague terms. There's intricacies within it.
You want to talk about Wake the Goddess release?
Oh yeah, Wake the Goddess will be our third single coming out January 8th or 9th, something like that. That'll be the third and final single before the record's out.
Well,
that's an interesting song. I mean, that's an interesting song. I mean, it's heavy, but it's also, just the way the music is, it kind of has like a... It's really a rock and roll song. Yeah. That I'd say there's a few throughout the album that aren't particularly doomy, are more just straight up rock and roll. And that's one of them. Like, it almost, once it was finished, I was kind of like, almost reminds me of Kiss or something, but in a good way. I like rock and roll. We were talking about other songs for the singles, and then Oakley was one who was like,
Oakley
made the deciding factor of Wake the Goddess. He's like, man, the Wake the Goddess, we should put that one on the is.
Yeah, it's kind of something different than what people are used to, from Wino in particular, who you're more often in the doom vibe, even though I know what you play when you're home. It's like, you like funk, you like rock and roll, you like all the different stuff.
Oh yeah, I love hard funk, man. If you're in a bad mood, but yeah, I mean,
it's still heavy. It's just a different style.
I'm really looking forward to our next rehearsal. I mean, it's fun to play.
It is. It's a challenge. The first word I wrote down was funky guitar work. Right in my notes, so I heard it myself. Funky guitar work, but I think Charlie, it's your narrative and storytelling that jumps out in the song, right? It shines, right? Yeah. And the screams at the end. What a perfect song to end the album.
Yeah, that one's like if you see a deity, like they say that you'd almost like die because it's so shocking from the human perspective. So that's what I was thinking about there. Like if you saw a deity, like whoa,
that would blow our minds. Right. Some of my favorites, I would say, would be Road Burnt and Feel Like a Pirate and Judgment. If I had to pick those 3 and 4, I would say those are my favorites.
Wow. That's cool. I consider that to be a well.
I'd say like straight up rock and roll, more like traveling, good time songs. And then, Judgment is the one that's like, coming out of your grave. I love
hearing that, dude. That's cool. That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a nice selection. But again, I'll go back to the point that it's like the double-edged sword. You get everything you love out of Wino, but then certain songs like Feel Like a Pirate, I say in that one, Charlie, like
a pirate.
It's something, the words I used was in your vocal delivery, there's swagger and cockiness in the presentation of the lyrics. It's like
that's because we're channeling our inner pirate, which is I think how me and Wino may have met on a ship back in the day. Oakley was probably there too. I don't know. But that's part of our the kind of culture that we revere in its freedom and its like choice to be outside of society. That's definitely something
we're mountain pirates.
That me and Wino
mountain pirates.
Both love.
We're mountain
and I'm
pirates.
Sure you do too. Testing by your music taste, that's what brings us together. We don't want to be part of society.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I definitely consider. I was told when I was younger by some psychologists that I got dragged into by my parents. Probably I was taking too much acid in school or whatever. And I was like, they thought I was a little bit fucking. They thought I was a little bit. They thought I was bad. Yeah. So the guy said, oh, you're a member of the counterculture. Man, I embrace that shit. Yes, I am. Fuck yes, I am.
Yeah.
Fuck yes, I am. And I felt the same way then as I do now. Fuck you. Fuck yes, I am.
Yeah.
That'd be a good name for a band someday. Why another project? Counterculture.
I know. We were
I was thinking about clothing.
making logo designs of it.
Tell you this. I was thinking about a clothing line.
Yeah, I know. I saw your sketches.
Not normal. Yeah, not normal clothing. Just whatever. But
Yeah.
I mean, it's what we're a little being outside. I mean, it's like we're out. We're doing our thing. We're doing our thing, and I think that our thing is just a little bit different. And I'm totally.
And it brings us together. That's why I love touring with the Obsessed too, and like what we've gotten to do with Ritual so far with the live experience. It's like at every Obsessed show, it's like a family reunion, man.
Yeah.
It's like.
Oh yeah,
We all love this music because there's something going on inside that like really ties us together.
And with other people too, you know what I mean? Like with yourself and everybody else. It's really nice to have. It's a good positive connection. Like we're yeah, that's pretty much what you say. Like
yeah, it's a vibe.
Yeah, and I still enjoy. My favorite style of music is bands that sing that still sing. I like female artists a lot. To watch female rock and rollers, I enjoy that. To watch a great all chick band. But I mean, it's like and so far, like the promoters have been putting pretty cool bands on as support. We're leaving that up to the local promoters, and then we're getting a pretty eclectic mix. Like we played us a couple of pretty wild bands already that I had never heard of before, and I have to look them up, and turned out to be really great, really good stuff. So man, there's nothing but good stuff happening right now. Feelings,
That's
good feeling. Yeah.
Well, talk about, you alluded at the top of the hour, you got, you're going to fill your set list up with the album. You got a couple new songs. I mean, will you expand it even more? Maybe why not throw in a couple songs off of the brand new solo album? Maybe go back and do it.
Should we reveal
this? It's funny you mentioned that. We might have, you can reveal, we could reveal. It's not really a secret.
Well, the thing that is new is we're probably going to be covering one Spirit Caravan song.
Yeah.
Which is like a dream come true for me because I love every song that Wino's ever written, but Spirit Caravan's probably what I listen to the most. So we're going to be diving into Elusive Truth.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're gonna attempt to cover that. We don't know who's she's gonna sing it.
Yeah.
Or maybe I'm gonna sing it with her.
I'd love to be every now and then do some vocals together. So we'll see.
We'll see.
That's just something that's new.
Yeah. Once you cross that bridge and just singing harmony stuff like that, then I'm locked into it. I know that already.
Yeah, but as much as you want to, you can.
So far I'm enjoying not having to sing. But at the same time, if it needs it, it needs it,
Yeah, especially with a song that you wrote. Maybe. We'll see. See how it goes.
Because it's about the power of the song. The song is its own entity. Like the song is like when the song is finished, the song is born. And it's like you might not even need a lead. You never know.
Mm-hmm. Might not even need vocals.
I know that was a little off track there. I just want to throw that in there.
Yeah, true.
I mean, if it was up to fans like us, we'd have you up there for 3 hours, right? I'm writing songs down. I'm like, all right, well, they'll do an hour of the new stuff, and they'll do another hour of all this other stuff, and then they can do 25 more minutes.
I mean,
covers, right?
Well, we wish, we wish we could do that for people like right now, but we're working up to it. I mean, we got 2 extra bonus songs we play in the set that are not on the record, and then we got the one new one. We got 3 new songs already, basically. That people haven't heard. Two being old songs that didn't make the record, but we'll call them new or whatever.
Yeah, they're still right.
And then the new song, the new Ritual Arcana song is a song that I wrote for a really good musician and friend of mine who is deceased recently. And that came along, finding out about his death came along with another paranormal experience. But the song is called The Blasted Tower, which is another tarot reference. If you pull the Blasted Tower, then there's going to be some radical change happening. It might not all be good.
It might feel like upheaval.
So I'd say like one of the most problematic shows that I've had in like maybe even in my career, but in the top 3 disasters for sure was like the show that we played really recently in Portugal, The Obsessed. In Portugal, our booking agent, he dropped the ball, like I'm not really sure what happened, but he forgot to book a certain flights, whatever. So we ended up having to do this crazy drive and do a total all-nighter.
All-night flight.
To fly from Belgium to Portugal, right?
Wake up there, you play the same day.
No drugs, you know what I mean?
You played the same day, and we had to do an overnight right after the show.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is what happened. So do this show in Portugal. Like, I'm looking forward to it, man. I've heard so many great things. I've been to Portugal twice, like on the coast, beautiful place, but I keep drawing the tower, man. I keep pulling the tower. Like, we draw tarot cards every day. They're sort of like, because for sure the cards don't lie. They do not lie. And it might not be an immediate thing, but in my opinion, we both agree they don't lie. So I kept, no matter what I did, I was pulling the tower. Like I was double pulling just because I pulled the tower the first time, what is it, And so we get there, and it's just us. Like, we had to be stripped down for costs or whatever. So it was just the band, no tech, no manager guy to help us or negotiate. So it was pretty smooth. We got there. It's pretty smooth. And then we get there, and we'll get there early. And so I'm going up to check out the gear that they're supposed to have for me to use. Obviously, it's kind of a festival, so they provide the amps and shit. You request what you want, and then cross your fingers whether you get what you want or not, because you need what you ask for. Yeah. And so we get there, and they're like, well, we don't have a Marshall cabinet for you. And, well, why not? Like we're pretty, we're pretty much co-headline. They're like, oh no, well, Matt Pike is using it, and we can't ask him to take it out of his stack. I was like, well, so that means that you don't have a cabinet for me to use. They had this ragged out PV cabinet, right? Now, I like PV. Don't get me wrong. Mississippi Marshall PV's great. But this particular cabinet wasn't great, and it was pretty ragged out. So I was like, wow, like they didn't have what I needed to get my sound. And so then I also use Marshalls when I'm on the road over there. I use like JCM 800s because it's hard to find anything anything too crazy that I would use, like a Sun Model T or something like that. So I can get a sound of these 800s. So there's two 800s there. So I said, oh man, I put one on top of this PV, and it just sounded like shit, man. And so then, but I was going to go with it. Then right before we take the stage, I'm like, maybe the other one, maybe the one they got me as a backup sounds better. And without hearing it, I put the backup there thinking it's got to sound better than this sample. Well, it sounded worse. So we get up there, we got this, I couldn't get my sound, terrible sound. The first thing that happens is I break a string. Boom. It's that kind of energy. Okay, so all this disasters befell us. We basically train wrecked, and shit. And finally I was just like, because the monitor dudes could not understand. There was communication was at an all-time low because they were speaking. What do they speak? They were speaking Portuguese.
Yeah, Portuguese.
Right. Portuguese,
they
probably.
didn't understand us. We didn't understand them. And so this is one of those countries where everybody speaks English real good. Not at all. So like we couldn't communicate sound thing at all. Looked like they had some dude who was green doing it too. They were coaching them, the other guys. And man, it was just everything was a complete disaster, right? I felt like shit. When that happens to me, like with situations like that, as being an artist, I just retreated to this dressing room. There was like this, mobile dressing room in the back, and we just started drinking beer till I was blue in the face, man. I didn't even want to talk to anybody. I just wanted to drink beer till we time to get the fuck out. You know what I mean? I was really disheartened. Yeah. So at the very end of the night, like some other friends showed up, and they'd had a friend who had, recently deceased, and I was like, wow, I'm feeling pretty sad. This pretty cool guy that died, And but anyways, I just wanted to get away from everybody, so I had to pee real bad. So I walked into the darkness behind this like mobile dressing room thing, and I just felt like keep walking, like fucking walking the festival, walk to the sea, man, into the sea. That's how bad I felt. But then I was like, fuck it, I'm kind of driving pissing, So all of a sudden I see these fucking lights, right? I see these weird lights. It's pitch black, and it's like a festival site with a stage, and then it's really nice. There's like a kind of soccer field, of course, right next there, and there's like a tiny little stream, and the sea was what you could smell the salt air,
Yeah.
So I was just kind of like, okay, I was kind of still a magical place, and all of a sudden I see these fucking lights, and they were red and green, and they were like horizontal, and they were flashing, and I was like, that's a really weird place for a fucking stoplight, for a street light. And I didn't notice that before, but I didn't know there's a road over there, So the more that I'm looking at it, kind of like, what the fuck am I looking at? All of a sudden, it comes right at me, to the point where it's like, I was kind of like, and then it blinked a couple times, and then it just shot off sideways, low behind a hedge bush, and was gone. Okay. And so I'm pretty fucked up. I'm totally disheartened. But I come out, I'm trying to tell everybody, God damn, I just saw some kind of strange UFO. And nobody's listening to me. I was just like, fuck it. I just had this incredible experience. Okay. So then we get in the van, and we're driving back, and it's like dour hour. Like when you know that uncomfortableness in the van where everybody had a bad night, everybody was pissed off and tired. One of those nights. And so you don't dwell on those nights. You just they happen, but you don't. But anyways, this night, right as we're sitting in this uncomfortable silence, like our bass player turns around with his phone and just puts it in my face, and it's like one of my best and oldest friends. It was his death notice. It was like a post. And all of a sudden I realized, wow, that was him saying goodbye to me. I felt it. I knew it. There was nothing else it could be. I mean, it might have been a weird alien, coincidental. I knew it was him. I felt it after I found it. So that was really intense, man. And then it was a really intense. And so here we go.
That's
back and forth. So the new song is dedicated to him. And it's like a really old riff that I had a long time ago that him and his band used to cover. And so I thought it'd be when I thought about it. I thought it'd be a great way to send him just like the accolades or whatever you want to call it that he deserves. Musically.
Yeah, and it's a great song, and because it was so personal. Wino wrote the lyrics, but then he gives me freedom also to like meld them in a way that like feels natural to me and that works for me singing. And so now I feel like the version we have cooked up is
really,
awesome.
It came out really great. I mean, we played it a couple times and I heard it. I heard how it needed to be like, from her singing, and so we decided to just axe a couple words. She changed up around real nice, and then now we got a really beautiful song for Dale. Yeah, Dale.
That's great. That's awesome. Great story, and thank you for sharing that. And a nice thing to do. So, talk about some of the dates you got coming up in January. What's the plan to hit the road, and are you going to see this out through other parts of the country? You're going to take it overseas? What are you doing with The Obsessed this year? What's 2026 looking like?
Both of our bands, both Ritual and The Obsessed, we're both doing kind of like short little jaunts.
Yeah, U.S. East side.
Yeah, Ritual Arcana is first. We're going to go out.
So first, the album will come out on January 23rd, and then we'll start this little mini tour on January 30th, a week later, and we'll be playing 8 shows. And they're, we're going as far south as Atlanta, Georgia. So it's kind of like the East Coast and down south, like in Ohio. I don't know. It's like
we're playing, what are the cities?
We're going to be, let's see if I remember, Manchester, New Hampshire, Brooklyn, New York, Philly, Washington, D.C., Raleigh, North Carolina, Louisville, Kentucky, Atlanta, Georgia, Youngstown, Ohio.
She's got a mind like a steel trap.
Wow, that's an impressive memory there.
And then The Obsessed will be going out in March.
Early March. We go out from March 6th in New Hampshire.
Okay.
We're playing. Are we playing? My short term is a little messed up.
But The Obsessed will be announcing their tour dates like within the next couple of days. Yeah. So those will be posted as well.
Yeah.
All right, so we got a lot to look forward to.
So that's cool. So that's yeah, and I want to be
a busy few months for sure.
I want to hit the U.S. hard, man. Like everybody Europe's great. Everybody looks upon Europe as a cash cow, but it's like, man, you got to crack your own country. I mean, I want to hit the U.S., play as much as possible places we haven't been, and bring it out to the people. And
then The Obsessed are possibly going to
South America. Like we think it's together. We haven't had the final confirmation, so that should be weird.
That'd be awesome.
No, it's cool. April. It's great. It's great, man. Going over there is like, it's incredible. You fly a lot. That's the only problem. Like you fly a lot. Like you fly every. So it's like being on tour in South America is like you're in the air pretty much. Mm-hmm. But hopefully, with any luck, then maybe we'll get to go back to Australia. I don't know, and we'll see what happens. There's a lot of crazy shit going on in the world these days, so I really hope that things smooth out a little bit. But UK's on the mess. We'll see. I mean,
we'll see. And with Ritual, we're open to playing wherever it lines up. Like we'd love to.
Yeah, and we're doing one local show before the tour. We're doing one local show in. Right down the street from us, actually, where we live. It's
on January 3rd, and then we have another semi-local show in February, also Berryville.
Yeah. Which is like real local. Like some of these places are like. Actually, it's the guy from Bad Wizard. The guy from Bad Wizard has a bar.
It's called the Oasis.
In a little town up here, so we're going to check it out. Like he's never had any bands there before, but Oakley knows him, And so we connected. Yeah.
Yeah, we just are down to play.
Yeah, did you? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
this sounds like a good, exciting year for you guys. I look forward to
Yeah.
seeing you again. Hey, guys, you mentioned earlier, of course, you're life partners too, but you're also creative partners outside of music. You do painting, you do sculptures, you do jewelry. So maybe for our listeners, a couple rapid fire fun questions. Like maybe for our fans, what would be a few things that we'd be shocked to know that you're into outside of music?
You go first.
Shocked to find out that I would be into. Oh, I like to square dance. No, just kidding.
That's awesome.
I
Does he know your corner?
I think people would be surprised that you like funk so much.
Oh, yeah.
You were saying like he'll put on the channel on Sirius XM The Groove, and like he could move, and I'm like,
I like the Isley Brothers.
Yeah, you
the
love
Isley Brothers. When I was a kid, like "Fight the Power" was on the radio. That was a hit. "Fight the Power," and I'm so great. Remember listening to that to this day. It just moves me. And I like some Sly stuff. Anything that what's missing today in modern rhythm and blues, whatever, is the fucking guitar. Back in those days, you had it all. You had the real wet synth sounds. You had a screaming guitar. And then you had your great vocalists and your normal, the funk vibe. But I mean, the guitar, man, I'm just a guitar head.
Yeah, you are. Yeah.
But I mean, hard funk always picks me up, so that might be a surprise to some people. I don't know.
Yeah. I guess for me, I'm like a Leonard Skinner fiend. I have everything up until the plane crash I'm obsessed with. And I don't know, I love yoga, but that might be all.
But I don't know what people. I mean, our lives are kind of like an open book, really. But we are into some pretty. I'm into some alternative stuff. Like my favorite artist is S. Clay Wilson. So
I don't even know who that is.
Oh, he's like.
Oh, you got to look it up. It's crazy.
S. Clay Wilson. Okay.
Yeah.
He was like a cartoonist.
Comics.
Okay. He was an underground cartoonist, especially he worked with Robert Crumb and Spain Rodriguez and some other folks. When they did Zap. What Zap Comics was, when I was younger, they were already, Zap was already established, like in the mid '60s, and it was like an underground comic books, published, coming out of San Francisco with all these crazy artists, Robert Crumb, but completely like twisted, perverted,
X-rated
comics. So we thought bikers and fighting, and bikers and like just crazy, depraved shit, And so there's a character that S.K. Wilson does called the Checkered Demon. And the Checkered Demon is like this little mischievous demon who basically likes fucking, drinking beer, and riding motorcycles. Like there's all these local motorcycle gangs that he's drawing these,
He's
big,
like Wolfman.
big galoots, like, the Ersatz Angels and like, the Screaming Gypsy Bandits are these gangs he's got, right? So the Checkered Demon is like always beating them up, the bikers up, stealing their bikes. He can go from like the pirate ship, I don't know. S. Clay Wilson is a special guy, a special artist, but he's definitely way twisted. Yeah.
Okay. Hey, Wino, I remember when we talked 2 years ago, you told me that one of your first experiences ever, it was a game changer for you, was when you saw Black Sabbath. I think it was 1972, 70, 73 in D.C.
In Baltimore.
Kind of sparked your career. So he just passed recently. Like, how did that hit you? And reflections on his passing.
His death hit me hard, of course, but the reality is I have really not been that into, Ozzy's trip for quite a while. I mean, I saw like, I'm not sure if it was 72. It was in Baltimore Civic Center. And I think it was on my 12th or 13th birthday.
Around 72, 73.
I guess around 72. Well, you got to figure it like this. We already had Volume 4. So Volume 4 was already out. So that's we already had Volume 4 when, I think, I'm pretty sure that we already had Volume 4. So I know for a fact it was like in between Master Reality and Volume 4 when I was on. But anyways,
the perfect time.
But anyways, it was so amazing because I could remember what Ozzy was wearing, And so recently I was able to go online and find pictures from that tour. When I was just a little kid, it's so amazing that to have that at your fingertips. And there he was with the fucking, the thigh-high bloomers, the black dashiki, the whole nine, Mm-hmm. But the thing about it is, seeing them that early and knowing about the power of Sabbath in the early days like that, anything Ozzy did really, really never came close. I mean, okay, the Randy Rhoads thing was amazing. The first Blizzard record was great. But I like Dio, but I don't really like Dio and Sabbath that much. I mean, For me, it was folk was open and shut like in 1974. Pretty much.
Got it. Well, guys, this has been an awesome conversation. For all our fans listening, make sure you check out the debut album out this January on Heavy Psych Records and try to catch them live when they come to your area. So, guys, I really appreciated speaking to you both today, and I hope to see you in Brooklyn.
Thank you, brother. Thanks a lot, man. Yeah, let's definitely touch base in Brooklyn for sure. And thanks a lot to everybody. Thanks to everybody.
Yeah, thank you.
Excellent. So for more information on Ritual Arcana, head over to ritualarcana.com for all their news, tour dates, and links to the socials. So for my guests, Wino and Charlie, I'm Metal Walt, and this is Metal Mayhem ROC.
Fantastic. Thank you. Thanks a lot, man.
Metal for Life.
Thank you for listening to Metal Mayhem ROC. Check out our website at metalmayhemroc.com for information on podcasts, archives, links to all our live radio shows, and all sorts of info. Please like, follow, and share with everyone, even your non-metal friends. And always remember to keep it heavy.